Let me check this real quick. It's by my wife.
Oh, you're good. Right, just making sure you didn't come here and get murdered.
My son lost his Doritos and she just wanted to know where they were. She wasn't worried about me.
Froggy flips.
Alright, so for today's video, I actually traveled back to the great state of Ohio because a fella reached out to me and said if I was willing to make the drive, that he would load me up with lots of great stuff for a good deal. I won't share too much of his personal info, but he did say I could link his Instagram page. He goes by @1985inc. Turned out to be a super cool, super interesting guy, and really a true nostalgia hunter if I've ever seen one. And at the end of the day, it was completely worth the trip. He said he didn't mind if I recorded, he just didn't want to be on camera himself personally, which was completely fine. So I'm going to show you some of the footage, hopefully paint kind of a picture of what the experience was like, the stuff that was for sale, the stuff that wasn't for sale. And then when we cut back here, I'll show you what I think are a few of the really surprisingly good finds, and I'll throw up some comps that even in my case kind of blow my mind. So let's get into it. So this is just like all stuff that you used to sell, or?
Combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's definitely stuff that I used to sell. Some of it's stuff I used to collect. Stuff that I got, you know, from like grandparents passing away.
Right. So it's like make a pile or something?
Yeah.
Go through it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
However you want to sort through it. Yeah, the lighting's not great, like right there.
Oh, it's okay.
There'll be a couple other places I'm going to show you some stuff now, so the lighting's a lot better. So.
Oh, okay. Definitely some Motu stuff.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing figure, that's really cool.
It's not even something I collect. I don't even know why I bought it.
It's hard not to sometimes.
Right.
Even if you're not interested in it.
Right. And that box is 120 vintage garbage pail kids cards.
No way.
Yeah.
I won't even look at them. Oh, there's all the cards you were talking about. Look at that.
There's some like random dumb stuff in there, like soap opera trading cards, but there's some cool stuff in there too.
I love this stuff.
Yeah.
Trolls.
You'll actually see a lot of stuff in these piles that you have for sure picked before. Which
Oh,
is
really?
ironic, yeah. Like there's like specific things that I've seen you like grab before.
Let's see here. Jeez.
And not all of it, like specific stuff that I thought you would want. Some of it just kind of took up the same box.
Oh, sure. Okay. Try to not make a mess as I go here. I won't even look through the cards. Those are cool.
Yeah, there's some down like lower. There's TMNT, there's Batman, there's Gremlin.
Yeah, those are all waxed down there.
That's good stuff.
Those are just too fun. Okay. It's
You
just...
want to wait on that plastic bin that's right in front of you that has the buttons and the...
This right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
That bin's like got some really cool stuff in it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, those are knockoff Mad Balls.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's really neat.
That's on there because it was turned separate from it.
Zombie Zoo collection.
Yeah, I think I have 3 of them in total. They're all different. I think there's only maybe 2 over there, but there's another one in my office.
I like some of the knockoff stuff more than I like the actual name brand stuff.
I'll show you a really cool knockoff here in a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know that it's for sale, but I'll show you.
I'll look at it. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, that came out of my grandparents' house. I'm like, why did my grandparents have it? Like, I can't picture anybody having ever used it, so I don't know what the story is behind that.
And my grandparents were the first people I knew to own a Nintendo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My parents had an Atari, I remember growing
Really?
up. Yeah.
My grandpa bought it for my grandma for their anniversary one year.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, that's what I played.
My grandparents had a Wii.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got them because they were, both of my grandparents were competition, like almost professional bowlers.
Oh, wow.
So we got them into Wii bowling. And they would play, and like my grandmother would be so mad if she lost.
That's funny.
My grandfather would like rub it in, and she would be
That's
like,
funny.
like pissed for days.
I bought my grandma a PSP one year for her birthday.
Oh, really?
She could not figure that one out.
That's pretty much as like technical as you can get.
Well, that's fun. Dance Man. Looks like a Walkman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That banner right there is cool.
Is that this?
Yeah. That's something I like actually had hung up for years, but I'm like, but it is cool what it is.
Oh, TDK.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably go right on my wall. That's really neat.
Yeah, it's very neat. anything like old school, like recordable VHS has such like fond memories.
Mm-hmm.
And that white box lid that's like right there on the pillow next to the cigarette roller right over here.
Uh-huh.
That bag, that's the Mario shirt.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Let's see it.
The weird, infamous shirt. I think it's so weird. I mean, literally, I've only ever seen 4.
Yeah.
And they've all been the exact same size. Youth, the size large. It's so strange to me.
See, I would never even look like in that section. Yeah, that's really cool.
Very neat.
I saw one on Worth Point that sold last year for like 125 bucks, which I think was too low. Matt, I think he auctioned his on Instagram, and someone bought it for like $700 on like Instagram. Wow. So, but
yeah, the other ones are listed. One's listed for
like 1,200 or something. Yeah,
2,000.
So crazy. That might be fun on Whatnot, just
for sure.
Just to see how crazy it gets.
I think it's got to be. I mean, obviously it's not the rarest shirt in the world, but it's one of the rarest shirts I could think of. Knowing about. It's just so funny that like I saw it in his video and then I ended up with one.
Yeah.
Like how weird.
I would have known about it if it wasn't for his video. Okay.
Yeah, and you can ignore all these like boxes. These are all just like stuff I'm not selling or just stuff you wouldn't even be interested in.
Gotcha. Another one of those like that.
Yeah. I wish the blood didn't like dry up in this.
That's cool though.
They're very cool.
Is that an old one?
Yep. Yeah, those are both. I mean, not like, you know.
Yeah.
But they're 90s or 80s or whatever that time frame was when they came out. Very, very scary.
Man, look at that.
McDonald.
How cool is that? I'm gonna check this real quick. It's probably my wife.
Oh, probably just making sure you didn't come here and get murdered.
My son lost his Doritos and she just wanted to know where they were. She wasn't worried about me. I have never found an Evel Knievel.
He's original too.
Do you have any motorcycles or anything?
It's in there, but it's bad shape. It's the stunt cycle, the really rare one. That's the instructions for it.
Oh, cool.
And that's the cycle that's like... it is bad. You could definitely tell some kid really tested its limits. And those are original. So
are they?
The little ones are knockoffs, but those two are original. Like, they're not in great shape. They got the, like, if you squeeze them, you can see the cracks in them.
Yeah.
But they are, you'll see the dates.
Those are really cool on a shelf, though.
Mm-hmm.
Are those adventure people, some of them?
Yep.
What are the blocky guys?
They're similar to, like, that cowboy you saw earlier.
Oh, okay.
You said you had, yeah. But, like, Fisher Price or whatever. I don't remember. Like, you can kind of see, like, on that top shelf of my surfboards over there, the longboards, the robots up there. Those are, like, my childhood robots.
Oh, the surfboards. Okay, I didn't even...
Yeah, those are longboards, actual, like...
Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about earlier. Yeah, my eyes kind of glazed over that part when I was...
If you look right next to the little black cabinet that's on the surfboard right in front of you, like, walk straight for it. That little figure right to the right of it, that is the bootleg I was talking about.
Oh,
you know what that is?
No.
So that is a Thriller toy.
Really?
Her name is Karen Corpse, and she's from the Graveyard Gang.
That's awesome.
And she's like $100 figure.
That's really cool.
They rarely come up. Like, I've only ever seen her and one other character. Like, and they almost never ever are up for sale.
I would not know what that was, but I would definitely not leave it behind. I think I would switch for one of these. Are those Bugle Boy jeans you're wearing?
Classic scene right there. Do you remember that?
Oh, for sure.
Toys.
Apparently E.T. was my very first movie.
Oh, really?
I was 1, and then when Drew Barrymore walked in, I started screaming with E.T. Apparently I screamed really loud in the theater, so then I had to leave.
That's awesome.
I think that's the best I'm trying to get to on the bottom there.
Some good ones.
Oh, these are cool.
That's pretty much all vintage.
I just kind of like this collection of them. There's something about the way you have these all stood up.
That's my OCD. I mean, a lot of this stuff, like, you see is kind of, like, sloppy, but that's, like, if I'm actually, like, thinking about something.
Yeah, I kind of just like that basket.
I'm not one of those, like, I'm kind of OCD, like, I'm on medicine, because I'm, like...
This might be the coolest thing that I've ever seen right here.
Very neat, yeah.
Heathcliff pocket organ. That is really cool. So this actually uses an 8-track.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's probably like from the 70s then, I would guess.
I don't know if for sure. It might be from the 80s.
78 Mego. That's so cool.
How cool is that?
That is cool.
Original Nash.
That's very cool.
Pretty much everything in here is pretty neat, I think, anyway. I mean, if you don't think it's neat, you're wrong. But other than that, those sports cards there, like I know I just said there isn't, but those are all like decent.
Oh,
like the early
Shaq and Jordan and stuff like that.
Kind of cards you could easily like put in a small group and sell for $10 each kind of deal.
The people you want to see.
Yeah, those are the ones like people are grading.
Yep.
Are those early like rookie-ish cards.
And they'll have sharp corners too.
Mm-hmm. Those are like rough stones, but actual stones.
Yeah.
Jasper. And,
you can tell because they're cold.
Yeah, I tried to make this kind of like the cool bin. I know like you like smaller stuff.
Yeah. What are these?
Some of them are war rations. And some of them are like different states, like sales tax. Like, they're kind of cool stamps and stuff.
I've never seen them put in coin things like this before.
Yeah, I don't know why they put them in there. I mean, it works, but
kind of a neat way to do it.
World War II era.
It kind of makes them feel more important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they're
that vehicle there, that car, super cool, and that sells pretty consistently for like $50, $75.
Really?
Yeah, and it's you know what it is, right?
That's an old Royal Clef.
Turn the wheel on the back of it.
Oh wow! Look at that.
And then like the front of it, if you roll the wheels, the front of it opens for you to like put like a cigarette pack or whatever in the front.
Well, that's cool.
It's very neat.
Yeah, I like pretty much everything in here.
I tried to make at least one box, but I figured you'd be like, "What if I want all this?"
I won't stick you with any of this. All right, so we made it back to the garage, and like I said, completely worth the drive. It was cool to see the stuff that I wasn't able to buy. I'm thrilled with the stuff I did buy, and made a new friend along the way. So we ended up making a deal for $500, and I pulled out what I think is some of the coolest stuff. So real quick, let's take a look at it. First of all, we have some vintage Garbage Pail Kids stickers. I think he said there were 120 in this little red case here. I didn't even look at them while I was there. He just said vintage Garbage Pail Kids, and I was all over that. I still need to organize all these. By this point, it's no secret how much I love Garbage Pail Kids. And then there were a bunch of like old sealed cards that he's collected along the way. Some really cool stuff, and like even some kind of ridiculous stuff, like some sealed packs of All My Children's cards. But there's like a big stack of Desert Storm cards back here, a bunch of different Batman sealed cards, Ninja Turtles the movie, there's some more Batman, and some T2, Indiana Jones, Trash Can Trolls, Fox Kids, American Bandstand, Trolls, Guinness Book of World Records, Battle Cards, Minnie Mouse, Superstars music cards, like I said, the All My Children, Mortal Kombat, X-Men, Hook, Generation Extreme, a bunch of VR Troopers, Power Rangers, Fleer Real Monsters cards. Those are kind of neat. So yeah, obviously a lot of these things don't have a ton of value, but it was still neat that he was able to collect this many throughout the years. I personally thought these sealed Charmkins were pretty cool. They're from the 1980s. They were kind of like a cross between like toys and jewelry and hair accessories. I just really loved the 80s graphics on these, and it was cool that they were still sealed in the package. There were two of those. Sweet Beth here actually sells for like 25 or 30 bucks, and the popcorn charm actually sells for like 25 to 35 bucks on its own too. So those were actually kind of surprising on the value. I didn't really think they'd be worth even that much. And there's a sealed box of Hunchback cards back there too. This was probably one of my favorite things, the old Heathcliff Tunes electronic pocket organ. I had never seen one of these before. Couldn't really find any sold on eBay, but there is one active for like 80 bucks. I have personally found that it seems like you have your Garfield people and you have your Heathcliff people. I am definitely a Heathcliff person, so that was really cool to find. Got a couple Mad Balls here. Definitely not in great condition, but I've never been lucky enough to find any, so those were really cool to stumble upon. In better condition, vintage Mad Balls can sell for a lot of money. Like some of these like 50 to 80 bucks a piece, on up to a couple $100 a piece for some of the more rare ones. Like I said, just kind of neat to find these. And then we have the Mario Grind Time shirt. This is a really rare shirt from what I understand. It's really hard to put a value on this thing. I think there's a couple on eBay right now. One's like $1,200 and one's like $2,000. If you look on WorthPoint, I think one sold last year for $125. But that's like the only sort of like actual sold comp that I can find. If you watch Part-Time Pickers on YouTube, Matt found one of these very similar about a year or so ago. He actually auctioned his off on Instagram, and I know he sold it for, I think, right at around $700. And then the fella that bought it, I think, sold it to someone else for right at $1,000. And now I believe that's the one that is priced at $1,200 on eBay. if I'm not mistaken. But it is a kid's shirt. It's a youth size large, just like those other two shirts are. Those have bricks in the background. This is just a plain white background. But it's hard to imagine that a kid's shirt could be worth that much money. Obviously, there's people out there that are willing to spend that high premium, but it seems like they're few and far between. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with it, how I'm going to try to sell it. It's a great size to put in like a picture frame for a game room or something. It's just all about finding that one special person, which there's ways to do it. I just haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do yet. But it's a very cool piece, and I'm happy to own it, at least for now. And then we have this bucket of smalls filled with like razors and pocket knives and old pins and just that kind of stuff. And he made it clear that he wanted me to buy this entire bucket. And I'll be honest, I didn't look through the entire thing. So a couple of the things I found in here were surprises once I got home. And surprised was I ever. I think you did see some of the cards that were in there, like some Michael Jordan cards and a bunch of Shaquille O'Neal cards. So those were definitely cool. I don't buy a lot of sports cards, but those would be two names that I would personally look out for as far as vintage sports cards go. Also inside this bucket, I found 3 of these vintage military knives. We have one from 1989, one from 1974, and one from 1976. I just think these knives are so cool. I've bought and sold them in the past. They can go anywhere from like $25 on up to $100 a piece, depending on the year and the condition. And every time I've ever had one, they sure don't sit around very long. And probably the biggest surprise of all were these 2 Zippo lighters. I love Zippo lighters. I've definitely gotten lucky over the years, and I've sold certain Zippos for close to $100, like $80-$90. And I've also lost money on Zippos because sometimes they look really great and you pay up a little bit for them, and they turn out to not be that collectible and not that valuable. These, on the other hand, are very collectible and pretty valuable. First of all, I believe they are both unfired with all the paperwork in the original box. This one, it looks like the sticker was taken off, so there's a little bit of sticker gunk there. Other than that, there's no scratches or anything on it. This is a Bicentennial 1776 lighter. I'm guessing it came out in 1976 probably, but it does appear to be unfired. There's no black marks or anything inside. It's tight in the box. That's why I'm not popping it out right now. But a quick look on eBay, and this lighter sells in this condition for upwards of about $150, which I would not have guessed on that, but very cool indeed. The second Zippo was a little trickier to research. Again, it appears unfired in the box, and it's a 25th anniversary Air Force Zippo. I was able to find one sold comp on eBay, and it sold for like $85, so I figured, hey, cool, it's another $100 lighter. But when I looked a little closer at that listing, all the red stuff on the 25 was scratched off. There were scratches all over the lighter, and when I read the details, it said that the lighter didn't even work and it was being sold as a display piece only, and it still sold for $85 plus shipping. So when I looked on WorthPoint, I was able to find one in this condition, kind of the new in box, unfired, new old stock kind of condition. One sold in September of this past year for $400 in this condition. I never would have guessed that. Turns out that this is a pretty rare lighter, especially rare in this condition. So when I finally made it back home, this was definitely kind of the surprise of the day. I'm very happy that he kind of snuck that in the bottom of this cool tote of old vintage fun stuff. So yeah, don't sleep on old Zippos. You never know. And then obviously there was tons more cool stuff. Again, this is just part of it that I've kind of started working on now, like this awesome Nash Nightmare skateboard, this sea of action figures, Gabriel, Lone Ranger, and Tonto action figure in there. Just tons of cool stuff, tons of stuff that I don't even have out here yet, but most certainly worth the drive. So thank you to my new buddy at 1985 Inc. Make sure you check out his page on Instagram. He posts pictures of the cool things that he's finding out in the wild, and just a super nice guy. So as always, I want to thank you so much for watching the video, but until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. Love ya. Bye.
When they hear that cha-ching and they all look at me, I guess they'll know I'm buying this crap.